Okay, if you would, could you share some of your experiences while you served during the war that you remember?
I might get cheered up on this.
Okay.
This was the beginning of the invasion. It's possible that we were the one that started the invasion, the invasion on the land there. That the King of England there, he come aboard our ship to us only to investigate our ship. And if we go, then we were the first ones to land the men out on the ground out there from we was probably a couple of miles off the ocean there.
Okay.
And we were probably the first ones that was to be show this off of the ship there to the young men, getting them onto the board on the ground there and getting them off of the Higgins boat onto the ground. And we got them to the ground. Mine got sunk. It got sunk, and I got off, and two boys left, and I don't know what happened to them. But we got onto some other boat, so we got shipped off. We got onto some more Higgins boats and got back onto some big boats and kind of scary things on stuff like that.
Now that was at Omaha Beach, correct?
Yeah, that was on the shooting beach there. Yeah, they were shooting on us, some of that. That was when the war started. Then that was the war started. That the Germans was setting up on the high cliffs there, you know, was shooting at us at that time, and that's when we got shipped on there. Got sunk and got off. And then a couple more days, then I got sent back on another little boat. They don't tell us why, that I just had some things that I had to take back into the Army.
Mm-hmm.
That little boat got sunk in, it got sunk. We got sunk in for about 5 days. There on the beach all the time, on the Omaha Beach. And we just stayed there till our new ship, my other ship, it had disappeared. I don't know what all of this stuff goes on.
Yeah.
In about 5 days, well, they come back on land and picked us up and got us. We just lived on the beach with however we could live on anything we had to live on. It was a Navy ship that was sunk there right on the beach, and it was gone. But it was staying there, but the Navy didn't want it anymore.
Mm.
So we got on the old ship, the Navy ship, we found the galley or the kitchen on it, and we found the food on it. We got on it, anything that was floating around on the ocean there was oranges, things that they had on the Army, stuff that they had, and just flooding out there on the ocean that was flooding around. We'd get in and eat anything we could eat. And just one of the things as kids had to do out there, you just had to live somewhere,
Yeah.
you know. So.
Yeah. Well, the first time that you had orders to take the Higgins boat and go forth, what was running through your mind?
With the loaded boys on it there,
Uh-huh.
it was just getting them onto the beach and getting them unloaded there was the biggest thing. That was the only thing we was to do on there, to get this ship in there and unload them, get them on the ocean. And we had unloaded them, and And that's when it got sunk right there when we got onto the dry ground.
How did it, what sunk the boat?
No one ever knew. I don't know whatever had it was,
Uh-huh.
but it was just filled with water.
Mm.
We left the ramp off and let the men get off, and it just filled with water then, you know. So whatever it was that happened to be that.
Mm-hmm. Those are made of plywood too, weren't they? A lot of
Yeah.
plywood.
Plywood, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had no guns and no guns of any kind, no. I guess a lot of the soldiers there, when we were crossing from England to France, there, all for a day or two we had one kind of bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I guess a lot of the boys there, you know, a lot of them were sick, really sick.
Mm-hmm.
And some weren't. They wanted anything that they could get from us, anything from food, you know,
Yeah.
that they could get. And but then after we got started onto the Higgins boat from the big ship into the water in there, of course it was dark, you know, and the battleships was singing, you know, you'd hear the bombers going boom, 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 the big, and the planes is a-flying and all of that noise, you know, a lot of stuff. I guess that's where I lost my hearing aid.
Okay.
Maybe I lost my hearing aid on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't much going from getting there from the ship to getting there to getting them unloaded there. Everybody was just pretty still and pretty quiet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, best I remember now, you know, I guess. I guess mostly just walking through with all of the soldiers that was still on the ship there, just trying to really talk with them, anything that you could talk about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, we had to stay for one extra night there. The ship got so bad, the weather was so bad, they didn't go down right then. We had to wait for another hour for that, another night for the ship to go, wait for another,
Mm-hmm.
to go for time for another day to go. And go with them soldiers and give some of my go down below there. I'd give some of them soldiers my boats there, you know, they was so sick, you know, some of them just as sick, you know. Some of them was a lot of crying and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that you just worried about then, you know.
Sure. Were you afraid?
Well, sure, we was afraid. Kids, I guess all kids was a little bit of kids, you know. Some it was nervy on it, you know, all them shoots and all that guns was just shooting and bumming, the planes were flying and the big ships was a big bumming the land there. Well, you hear them ships bumming and everything, you know, that was always, that was scary. And you know, and we had already been told there was 90% of you is going to be killed, and 90% you won't get off the beach here. But we did anyway. A lot of them got killed, yes. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of them little boats, they just sunk right out in between from the big ship, a mile or two out there. From there to the dry land in there, they got all sunk out there, you know, in the ocean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's nothing that ever been like that before, and there's never been like that happen again, you know. there was some of them old, them writers that was writing stories of during that time, you know.
Right.
There was 2 or 3 stories that was real good on him. He told all about that, you know. All of the things was floating in the water, you know. The food was floating on, men was floating on, you know. There's a lot of men was in the water, but that was all. He said there's never going to come out of that water, you know. They still just flooding out in the water, you know, out there. Just a lot of stuff out there, you know. You can think about things now. You can see on that, but that's wartime. That's wartime. We hope that nobody ever happens another wartime like that gets back. But never had any idea, never had any thoughts about ever wanting to go back over to see it again. You know? I never did want to go back. But they got all them tombstones, you know. Just thousands of them there, you know, on that beach there, you know, on top. They're still there. But we got off. Yeah, we got off of it. But the 2, I don't know whatever happened to them. That he never did get back on the ship, so I never did find out what happened to him. Oh, well.
Do you remember his name? No.
Later on in years, I'll become a Christian. And I'm a Baptist now, but but we never thought a thing in the world about our Christian life. On it, we just absolutely didn't. I don't know why. I don't know, but I remember my mom had sent me a little Bible, and I kept it, but I never did use it to study on it, you know. But I've thought a lot about that afterwards, that God took care of me some way whatsoever.